Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness, a daily podcast devoted to spirituality and self help. If you're new, I want to welcome you. If you're returning, welcome back. So today we have a very special guest. We have Mr. Mike Pickles, and I had the opportunity to be a guest on his podcast, The Daily Dill. And now I'm honored that he is also a guest on our podcast. So I'm very, very excited to talk to him about all things having to do with his podcast. So welcome today, Mike.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're here. So why don't you just start by telling us a little bit about yourself and about your podcast?
In a nutshell, as you mentioned, my podcast is called the Daily Dill Podcast with Mike Pickles. And the reason it's called the Daily Dill is because my last name is Pickles, so play on word dill. And basically, I started it last year during COVID, around March. Because everybody was sort of working from home. And so I decided, hey, why not do something a little bit different? I've always thought about a podcast. I just never got around to doing it. So I just decided, let's just do it. So I jumped in and here I go today. I think I'm on episode 34 right now, which was you. You were my last episode to date. There'll be more. And that's basically how it started, Melissa.
That's awesome. So what are your episodes about? I know what our episode was about, but what do you normally highlight on your podcast?
Great question. I started out because I do a lot of stuff on motivational, inspirational type things, topics, subjects. But then I just kind of let it slide in the sense that I would just sort of reach out through social media and through friends and whatnot, networking. And if I saw something, read something that was sort of interesting to me, somebody doing something cool, different, interesting out there, I would reach out to them and say, "Hey, you want to be on my podcast?"
That's really cool. I have to say, knowing from personal experience, it takes a lot of guts to put a podcast out there because I know a lot of people are afraid of putting themselves out there and speaking their truth and all of those things. So, how difficult was it for you to really make that decision?
Doing the actual podcast, like you said, reaching out to people wasn't that difficult because I'm an educator. I'm a teacher of 27 years, so speaking in front of people is not difficult for me. And I also do motivational speaking, like I do seminars and conferences and things. So again, the speaking part is not easy. It's not difficult. Asking questions and things. It's not. I'm very inquisitive by nature anyway. The hardest part for me was the technical side of things. I had no idea how to put a podcast together. So for me, that was tough. And it still is. I haven't perfected it at all. I'm still trying to find ways to make it better, easier. So that side of it was tough.
Well, I'm really, I have to say, impressed that you went ahead and started it in anyway, even though you didn't really necessarily know what you were doing from the technical side. Because I think that that is what keeps a lot of people stuck is they get into that fear mindset of I don't know enough, I don't have all the answers, and so they just stay stuck because they think they have to be perfect. So the fact that you went ahead and did it anyway is awesome, and I applaud you for that because I know what that's like, and I always tell people you can course correct later when you figure things out, and you can figure out later, hey, I could do this better. You can fix it. But if you don't ever take that first step forward and take that risk, you'll never do anything. Would you agree with that?
I agree 100%. I was actually listening to a YouTube video with motivational speaker Eric Thomas. I don't know if you've heard of him before, ET. And he said exactly what you just said. He said, stop waiting for tomorrow. Stop waiting for it to be perfect because it's never going to be perfect. Just jump in and start and just fix it along the way. And that's what I'm doing.
I love that. So you're a motivational speaker, or you're at least a public speaker. What do you normally speak about?
I would say, well, right now I'm doing a lot of work on wellness and well-being because of COVID, all that stuff that's going on. There's a lot of people that are really hard done by right now that aren't doing well, that aren't feeling well, lost their jobs. Mental health is a big thing right now. So I do a lot of things on wellness and well-being at the moment. But I also do my main focus, I guess, when I do my talks is on basically educate, inspire, and empower others to be, become the best that they can be, whatever that is.
I absolutely love that. That's amazing. And you said you're a teacher too. What do you teach?
Right now, this is my 27th year. Wow, believe it or not, in education. I'm not currently teaching. I'm currently running I'm sort of the coordinator, so curriculum coordinator. So I'm helping other teachers teach and lesson plan, and to improve their classroom environment or atmosphere. So I'm currently not teaching per se, but I have taught elementary, junior high, high school, at the college, the school board, overseas. I had an opportunity to teach in Ecuador and South America as well, in Africa. So I did a little bit of this, a little bit of that, been all over the board.
Yeah, wow, that sounds like it. So, in all of your experiences, what are some of the most interesting things that you've learned yourself in education?
One of the biggest ones, by the way, I'm up here in Canada, but one of the biggest things I learned, well, lots of them over 27 years, but one of the biggest ones was I went to Guyana, South America on behalf of CTS, which is the Canadian Teacher, CTF, the Canadian Teacher Federation. And every year they send teachers all over the world to help out other teachers. So it's teachers working with teachers. And overall, I just found out, I was there for 6 weeks. And overall, I found out that here in North America, whether you're United States or Canada, but in North America, for the most part, not everybody, but for the most part, we are materialistically rich, but we're spiritually poor. And I'm speaking from my own observation. And down there in South America, they are materialistically poor, but they're spiritually rich. Like they had very, very little, but they would laugh, they were smiling, that like every day was just such a gift to them. So when I came home, I tried to borrow a little bit of that attitude, that mentality, that mindset in my own daily life.
That's really interesting, and I think you make a good point. I believe that that is definitely true. In seeing the differences in those two environments, what was their big takeaway? Like, what would you tell people, if are we too focused on material things? What's your opinion about that?
We definitely are too focused on material things. I know that from my students. I know that from my own children. They just want more material things. Not just them, but ourselves. I mean, competing with the Joneses. You get a house, somebody else wants a bigger house. You buy a car, somebody else has to buy a bigger, faster, more expensive car. It's like a competition of material things. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can't bring it with you. So I find well, sorry, we tried to start last year a new Christmas tradition. Instead of buying presents under the tree that your children forget like a week later, they're already bored because of material things. It doesn't fill that gap. It doesn't fill that void. It does temporarily, but not in the long term, and we all know that if we're honest. So we tried to start last year, but we didn't because, like I said, COVID hit. Is instead of gifts, we're going to travel. So every year we're going to take a family trip. So what we're trying to do is instead of filling our closet with material things, we're going to fill our mind and our hearts with memories.
I love that. That's a great idea. And I think that we do tend to, well, it's our society in general. I don't know about in Canada, but in the US before COVID hit, you would see the Black Friday deals on the Friday before Thanksgiving, and people would be, or the Friday after, I should say, and people would be punching each other, and there would almost be homicide to get to these deals that they would have on the big ticket items, like the iPhone or whatever. And it, I always used to look at that and think, nothing is worth that to me. People would camp out for weeks outside of Best Buy to get whatever good deal they had. And I remember saying to my mom, I don't care how cheap it is, it's not worth my time, the time that you have away from your family. So I always thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And that's another thing, like time is the most important asset we can have. It's not money, it's not material things. Like all those things, it doesn't matter. You can always make more money. You can get a second job, a third job, whatever. You can sell stuff to make money. You can do things to make money and to get material things, but time We all have so much time, and once it's gone for good. I mean, unless we invent a time machine, as it is right now, that's it. When your time's up, your time's up. So you have to spend it well. You have to spend it wisely.
Yeah, do you have any tips for people since you are a teacher? And now I know you're coordinating curriculum, which is also, that's just another completely different animal. I'm a teacher as well. But do you have any advice for people who may be out there struggling, having to deal with the online learning and with COVID and with everything that's going on?
Advice. It's tough, number one, because of especially because it's all online, and sometimes, as you know, technology, internet doesn't work so well. So number one, it's tough. So having said that, what I'm trying to say is just relax. Don't take it personal when things don't work out so well. And I'm talking about a teacher, the parents, and the students, because there's going to be times where it's not going to go as planned. So don't stress about it. Don't sweat the small stuff, as they say. Just, roll with the punches, go with it. If your online learning was supposed to be an hour but you only got 30 minutes out of it, so be it. Just take that 30 minutes and go with it. The other thing is, it's a new way of learning. Like, you used to sit in class face to face, and these days people are learning remotely over Zoom or over the computer. So it's just another way of learning. Not everybody learns that way very well. It's not for everybody. But one thing I want to say is that this is temporary. It's not going to last forever. We're not going to be learning via Zoom for the rest of our lives. It's a temporary thing. Here in Canada, for the most part, we have sort of a hybrid of the two. Some are teaching online, like half a day, and then the other half a day, the students are going to school face to face. It's not 100% Zoom already. It's already changing. So I would say be flexible. It's temporary. Don't sweat the small stuff and appreciate this moment of learning. That's all it is. It's a different form of learning.
And I think what you said actually could apply to any area of your life, really. I think that we get too emotional and too upset over things that really, in the long run, don't really mean a whole lot. It seems like at the time it's a big deal, but you look back later and you think, well, that was only a really small portion of my life. So I think that those are great words of wisdom.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I was younger. I forget who it is, my mom, my dad, maybe my grandfather, I don't know. But when things are bothering you, they would tell me to use and you might have heard this before, it's called the rocking chair technique. And if something's really bothering you, you say you get in an argument with your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, teacher, friend, neighbor, whatever, or someone's, road rage on the road somewhere. The rocking chair technique is you sit, you imagine, so you imagine that you are in your rocking chair and you're a grandfather or grandparent, right? So you're in your 80s, 90s, whatever else, and you're just rocking, and your working life is over. You're just relaxed. Your kids are grown up, and you're sitting in that chair, and you're thinking back to that moment that bothered you, that pissed you off, that aggravated you, that annoyed you, and how important is it really? Like, in that chair, you're drinking your coffee, your tea, you're looking at the horizon. How important really was that moment in time that you freaked out about? And chances are it's not that important. It never really is when we look back, when we reflect. So now zoom back into the moment, into the present, and just let it go, because it's not going to be that important in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years anyway. So why make it important during the moment? Because it's not going to matter later.
I had never heard of that technique before, or had never heard it called that. That's very similar to the if it doesn't matter in 5 minutes, 5 months, 5 weeks, 5 hours, whatever, that it doesn't matter. But I love that because it really does put it into perspective, and that we tend to make things that are happening in the here and the now so big and so much bigger than they actually are. And when we look back at them later, we realize, how much time we wasted being upset over something that really, in the long run, wasn't going to make a big difference in our lives.
That's right. You hit the word right there when you said perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to mention in the beginning, but I'm an author, published author of 3 books. And my books are based on perspective, what you just said. The 2 books that I first wrote were called Hug Someone You Love Today. And then my third one was called Perfectly Imperfect. And the first 2, Hug Someone You Love Today, was based on when I was a teacher. My first 3 years of teaching, which is when most teachers leave the profession because it's so stressful, I was having a lot of troubles with this one student, and I couldn't get through to him. So I asked the veteran teacher, um, what do I do with this student? And she gave me all these strategies, techniques to deal with it. But at the end of the day, she gave me a little hug card. It was just says a little, it was a little bear on it. It was a little piece of paper. There was a bear on it. And it's just, she said, give this to the student. Sometimes all they need is a hug. So I said, cool. Do you mind if I borrow it? So I gave it to that student. And after that episode, I swear to God, I never had a major incident with him again. I had some minor ones, but never a major incident. So I asked that teacher, I said, do you mind if I use this card for other things? And she said, go ahead. So I took the card and I used the bear and I put hug someone you love today on the front. And on the back, I said, give this card to someone you think that needs it. And then write me back at the at this email address and tell me about your story, how it influenced, affected you or affected them. And people started writing me back, and I wrote a book from it. And then I had so many stories that I wrote a second book from it. So, and that was based all on perspective. So thank you for sharing that, for reminding me of that word.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And that's awesome that you were able to write a book from that. It reminds me a lot of those, I don't know if you've heard of them before, but the Chicken Soup for the Soul. And they have the teacher stories and different stories where teachers will talk about that, where it doesn't matter what you teach students. Students don't care how much you know. And there's always that expression, students don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. But it's true. It's like we make connections. And I'm a big, firm believer that that is a big part of why we come here is to learn how to connect with one another. And it's the connections we make and we leave with others and the impact that we have that makes the biggest difference.
Yeah, I agree. And I know that, and you sort of what you do is all about connection, all about energy. So you're right. It's all about that connection. And when we do put things in perspective, what's really, really important, family, friends, and our health, then we're able to connect a lot better than if we put superficial, artificial things in, importance like money, materialistic things. Then those connections aren't as strong, or at least they don't last. They might be in the beginning, but they don't tend to last in the long term.
Yeah, and I think we see that all the time. I mean, even if you look at reality television, which I try to stay away from, but when you look at that and you look at the 90-Day Fiance or, The Bachelorette or those programs like that, and I'm not calling anyone out if you like those shows and they're your guilty pleasure, that's fine. But you look at shows like that and they're sort of experiments on connection. And when you try to throw people together with these really short connections and they're just sort of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, superficial, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. You're right, they don't last very long. And I think that it's a message for us, or a learning point for us, that we need to be better about the connections that we make.
It's all about connections in my mind. I remember a year or two ago, I watched a movie called I Am. It was directed, produced by Shediak, last name Shediak. He's the one that did all the big movies with Pet Detective and whatnot with Jim Carrey.
Uh-huh.
Tom Tom Shediak was his name. Anyways, he had an accident. He's a millionaire, has all kinds of money, multiple houses and cars, travel like all the rich do. And then he had an accident and things went in perspective. He almost died. And then he put things into perspective and realized that material things and money isn't everything we make it out to be. Society and media makes it out to be. So he basically sold everything, got rid of everything, became a minimalist, and just bought a little like mobile trailer and got rid of his cars, and he bikes everywhere, walks everywhere. And basically he made a shift from what he calls me to we. So he moved from me, always thinking about me, I, to we, to more community oriented. And I thought that was really cool, really neat.
That is very cool. And I think that that is really the big shift that we're starting to already see, I think, in our society is moving from more self focused to more community focused.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you see a lot of community efforts, a lot of community events right now, and it's needed. Like we need a lot of healing in this world, so a lot of it's going to come from, working together.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here with us today, Mike. You guys need to check out his podcast, The Daily Dill. But also, if they want to follow you and see any of your other things, how can they follow you? What's the best way?
I would suggest, as you just mentioned, you can go on to check out podcasts and any social media platform. You'll find my podcast, the Daily Dill podcast with my pickles. So check me out there, and I will respond. YouTube videos, I have, I don't know, hundreds of YouTube videos out there. Just look up Daily Dill, and you'll find me. On Instagram, again, Daily Dill Mike. And my books are out there. Hug Someone You Love Today. I have two of them, Perfectly Imperfect. I have one out there as well. Just Google it, you'll find me. I'm pretty easy to find with the last name Pickles. So those are the main ones I would suggest.
Okay, awesome. And we will have all of that in the show notes. So you can go and click right on that to find it. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here with us. Are there any last parting words of wisdom that you have for our audience members today?
Well, today we talked a lot about relationships and community and connecting and energy. So, just I guess as part of words of wisdom would be that it reminds me of an African proverb when I was teaching in Africa in Malawi, that this archaeologist was over there in Malawi one day or in Africa one day, and he basically there was a big tree hundreds of feet away, and he told a group of children, he said, whoever can get to that tree first, there's a big bowl of fruit, and you could have it. You could have it by yourself, just by yourself. You can have the whole thing. So he said, one, two, three, go. And instead of running, which is what he thought, all the children held hands and they walked together and they all got there together and they shared the fruit, the bowl of fruit together. And he asked them, why did you not just run and have it for yourself? And they all shouted out, I might pronounce this improperly, but they all shouted out Umbatu, Ubuntu, which means together. So in their mind, that if you work together, it means more than if you walk alone. So I think we need to all work more together.
That gave me chills. I love that story. And I want to thank you so much again for being here with us. This was such a great conversation today.
Thank you, Melissa. I really appreciate your time and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you, you too. And I want to thank all of you for being here with us today as well. As always, if you like this podcast, please subscribe. Please leave a positive review from wherever you're listening. You can leave me some stars on iTunes. That helps others to find me. And the greatest compliment you can give me is to refer me to others. I know that you guys know this already, but you can follow me on social media. I go live Mondays at 6:30 Central in my Facebook group where I do a free card reading. And if you show up for the live, I'll pull a card especially for you. If you want to work with me, you can go to my website, melissaoatman.com. There you'll see all the services I offer. And if you're not sure what you want, but you know you want to work with me, you can always reach out and contact me and we can set up a free discovery call where we can figure out what would be best for you. I want to thank you so much for being here with us. I am sending you so much love and light. I hope you have a beautiful day from wherever you're listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.